Most people think the decision between leasing and buying a car is simple. You either want to own it or you don't. But that's not really what's happening beneath the surface. The real decision is financial, psychological, and often invisible. And if you don't understand the math behind it, you can easily lose thousands of dollars without even realizing it. Imagine two people. Both drive similar cars, both earn similar incomes. One of them leases a new car every 3 years. The other buys a slightly used car and keeps it for 8 to 10 years. From the outside, their lives look almost identical, but financially, they're on completely different paths. Let's start with what leasing actually is, because this is where most confusion begins. When you lease a car, you're not paying for the car itself. You're paying for the depreciation, the loss in value during the time you use it. Think of it like renting the most expensive part of the car's life. A brand new car loses value the fastest in its first few years. The moment it leaves the dealership, it starts dropping in price. In fact, many cars lose around 20 to 30% of their value in the first year alone. When you lease, you're essentially agreeing to cover that loss. That's why lease payments often look cheaper than loan payments. You're not paying for the full value of the car. You're only covering a portion of it. On the surface, it feels like a smart deal. Lower monthly payments, newer car, fewer maintenance worries. But here's the part people rarely think about. At the end of the lease, you own nothing. All the money you've paid is gone. It's the cost of access, not ownership. Now compare that to buying a car. When you buy, especially with a loan, your monthly payments are usually higher. You're paying for the entire value of the vehicle, not just the depreciation. In the beginning, it feels heavier, more pressure, more commitment. But something important is happening in the background. Each payment you make builds ownership. Slowly, month by month, you move toward a point where the car is fully yours. And once it is, your monthly cost drops to almost zero. This is where the real divergence begins. Let's walk through a simple scenario. Suppose you lease a car for $400 a month. Over 3 years, that's about $14,400. At the end of those 3 years, you return the car and start again. Another lease, another $14,000. And this cycle continues. Now imagine instead you buy a car with a loan for $500 a month for 5 years. That's $30,000 total. More expensive up front, yes, but after 5 years, you own the car. And if you keep it for another 5 years without payments, your average monthly cost over 10 years drops significantly. In the leasing scenario, you're always paying. In the buying scenario, the cost eventually disappears. This is where time becomes the most important variable. Leasing is designed for consistency. You always have a payment, always drive something new, always stay in the cycle. Buying, on the other hand, rewards patience. The longer you keep the car, the cheaper it becomes on a monthly basis. But there's also a psychological layer here that quietly influences the decision. Leasing feels easier. It feels safer. Lower monthly payments create the illusion of affordability. You think you're spending less, but in reality, you're committing to a permanent expense. It's a subtle trap. Buying feels heavier in the beginning. Higher payments can feel uncomfortable, but that discomfort is temporary, and most people underestimate how powerful it is to eliminate a monthly expense entirely. There's also the issue of lifestyle. Leasing fits a certain mindset. You like driving new cars, you care about the latest features, you don't want to deal with long-term maintenance, you prefer predictability. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it comes at a cost. Buying aligns with a different mindset. You're willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain. You don't mind driving an older car if it saves you money. You value ownership more than appearance. Neither choice is purely about money, it's about priorities. But the math doesn't lie. When you lease repeatedly over a long period, you're essentially paying for the most expensive years of multiple cars without ever benefiting from the cheaper years. It's like constantly restarting a game without ever reaching the reward. On the other hand, when you buy and hold, you absorb the initial cost, but then you get years of low-cost usage afterward. That's where the financial advantage compounds. There's also one more layer people often ignore: opportunity cost. Every extra dollar you spend on a car is a dollar that's not being invested elsewhere. If leasing costs you slightly more over time compared to buying and holding, that difference could have been invested, and over 10 or 20 years, that gap becomes significant. A few $100s a month doesn't feel like much, but when you stretch it over a decade and factor in potential investment growth, it turns into something much larger. So the real question isn't just, can you afford the monthly payment? It's, what is this decision costing you over the long run? And this is where the story becomes even more interesting, because there are situations where leasing can actually make sense financially, not just emotionally. Because while buying tends to win over the long run for most people, leasing isn't always a bad decision. In fact, in certain situations, it can be the more rational choice. For example, if you're someone who changes cars frequently anyway, buying may not give you the advantage you think it does. When you buy a car and sell it after just 2 or 3 years, you're still absorbing that steep early depreciation. You paid for ownership, but you didn't stay long enough to benefit from it. In that case, leasing can sometimes produce similar or even better financial outcomes with less hassle. There's also the factor of reliability and risk. Newer cars rarely break down. They're usually under warranty and maintenance costs are predictable. Leasing keeps you in that safe zone. You're essentially paying for peace of mind. For someone with a demanding job or limited time, avoiding unexpected repair costs and downtime can have real value. But even here, it's important to be honest about what you're paying for. You're not saving money, you're paying for convenience, predictability, and a certain lifestyle. Now let's look at another hidden detail that most people overlook: mileage limits. Leases typically come with restrictions. You might be allowed 10,000 or 12,000 miles per year. Go beyond that and you pay extra. That might not seem like a big deal at first, but it quietly changes your behavior. You start thinking twice about long drives. You become more aware of usage. It's a subtle limitation on something you don't even own. When you buy a car, there are no such constraints. You can drive as much as you want without penalties. Over time, that freedom has value, even if it's hard to quantify. Then there's customization. When you lease, the car isn't really yours, so modifications are limited. You're expected to return it in near original condition. Even small changes can become issues later. Ownership removes those boundaries completely. But the most important difference shows up when you zoom out and look at your financial life as a whole. Think about someone who leases continuously for 15 years. They always have a car payment. Always. It becomes a permanent line in their monthly budget, just like rent or utilities. Now think about someone who buys a car, pays it off in 5 years, and then drives it for another 5 or 7 years without payments. During those years, they suddenly have extra cash flow. Maybe it's $400 or $500 a month that no longer goes to a car. What happens to that money? If it disappears into lifestyle upgrades, then the advantage is lost. But if it's redirected into savings or investments, it starts to build something meaningful. That's the quiet power of ownership. It creates space in your finances. And that space is where wealth begins. This is where the decision becomes less about cars and more about habits. Leasing encourages a cycle. You get used to a fixed monthly cost and it never goes away. Buying, when combined with holding the car long enough, introduces the possibility of breaking that cycle. And once you break it, your entire financial trajectory can shift. But there's another layer to consider, and it's one that often gets ignored because it's not visible on a spreadsheet: identity. The car you drive is one of the most visible signals of your lifestyle. It shapes how others see you and, more importantly, how you see yourself. Leasing often aligns with the desire to maintain a certain image. A newer car, updated every few years, creates a sense of progress, even if your financial position isn't actually improving. Buying and keeping a car longer requires a different kind of confidence. You have to be comfortable not upgrading as often. You have to detach your identity from the idea of new. And for many people, that's harder than the financial decision itself. But this is exactly where long-term advantages are built. Not in the obvious numbers, but in the small choices that most people avoid. It's also worth mentioning that the best decision can change depending on your stage of life. Early in your career, when your income is still growing, minimizing fixed expenses can give you flexibility. Buying a reliable used car and avoiding constant payments can free up cash for investing, learning new skills, or building opportunities.
Later, when your income is higher and more stable, the cost of leasing might represent a smaller percentage of your overall finances. At that point, the convenience and lifestyle benefits may feel more justified. So this isn't about declaring one option universally better than the other. It's about understanding the trade-offs clearly. Leasing gives you lower upfront costs, newer cars, and predictable expenses, but locks you into a continuous payment cycle with no ownership. Buying requires higher initial commitment, but rewards you over time with lower long-term costs, flexibility, and the possibility of eliminating a major monthly expense. The real math isn't just in the numbers you see on paper. It's in how long you keep the car, how you use the money you save, and how your habits evolve over time. Because at the end of the day, the car itself isn't the most important part of this decision. It's what the decision does to your financial future. If your goal is to look successful today, leasing can help you achieve that feeling quickly. But if your goal is to quietly build wealth over time, buying, and more importantly, holding, usually puts you on a stronger path. And that's the difference most people never fully see.